everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Yogi Podcast. Today, we are here with Gary Perot, who is a director, filmmaker, and writer. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hi. Yeah, my name is Gary. I'm a writer director from originally from Dallas, Texas, but born in Florida. And now I live in Los Angeles, and I direct up here as well too. So, yeah, yeah.
Nice. So, how has the transition been from Florida to Los Angeles?
Oh wow. The transition from Florida to Los Angeles. Well, I mean, I grew up in Dallas primarily, and I spent like a lot of my summers in Florida. But the transition from Florida to Texas wasn't too big, but then also the transition from Dallas to LA, it hasn't been too big, but I think as I continue to live here in LA, I'm starting to realize the major stark differences between LA and California, especially it just being the South and then this being the West
Right.
Coast as well
And
too.
how do you feel about quote unquote the Hollywood scene as a director?
hmm
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like, okay, I kind of fit in, or oh, this is kind of awkward? What space do you feel like you're in when it comes to that?
Yeah, in terms of Hollywood, I feel I feel like I fit in, but I feel like I fit in because I feel like I feel like a lot of indie filmmaking is a lot of like working with people that you know
Mm-hmm.
and working with your friends and working with their friends and staying connected that way. And so with the projects that I've done so far, or at least the projects I'm doing right now, um, I have found a group of people that I feel very comfortable around, that
Mm-hmm.
um, I feel very supported by, and so I think that's I feel like that's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you about how important is networking, or do you do most of your work kind of like word of mouth? Like, how do you get your films or just like you as a business person out there?
Yeah, that is something that I have been definitely working on it too. I think that, especially just with this year, I told myself that I really want to further my career in terms of directing, um, and so I think a lot of it has been, you know, submitting to festivals, and then also networking with a lot of the people that I know in terms of just like my friends and the people that they know as well too. And then also just using social media
Mm-hmm.
as well too has been very helpful. I just started using Threads just
Me
recently.
too. Shout out to
I think
Threads.
that's how we connected.
Yes.
Yeah, I just started using Threads, and so Threads is something that I didn't realize was like everybody people were on there. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's very useful. And so I'm trying to use that. I'm trying to network, and I'm trying my best not to be afraid of putting myself out there and asking for what I want and leaning into sponsorships when it comes
Mm-hmm.
down to filmmaking and leaning into um, connecting and connecting with other businesses and stuff like that that could really help me get my films out there as well too.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think that's pivotal, especially as
yeah,
people of color. We might be afraid to ask people for help or say, hey, I'm working on this. Does anybody want to work on this with me? So I feel like community definitely
yeah,
plays an important part into that. And then
yeah.
I want to ask you about how do you feel being a young black director?
Uh-huh. I feel like being a young black director, I feel like there's a responsibility. I feel like there's a responsibility. And I feel you know what's interesting, I was just thinking about this yesterday, but I was thinking about, you know, in terms of like the things that I like and the things that
Mm-hmm.
I want to see be put out there into the world. I think it's essential that I remain to be authentically myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I try my best to um, be a representation in terms of um, what I would probably want to see
Mm-hmm.
um, as a young black creative, and I guess also putting out the stories and putting out the images
Right.
of black people that I would want to see. I think that's essential. Um, but yeah, I think it's I've so far I've had a really fun time with just the things that I've done, and I think that just being a creative person, I think I'm learning that I can I think I'm just learning just to have fun. I
Mm-hmm.
think having fun, especially with being a black creative, I don't think, especially in film, you know, I don't think we are given enough images of us just living and
Right.
just being human. And I think that's essential to us in our future in film. I think that'll be think that's something that I've been trying to do with my storytelling as well.
I like that. And
Yeah.
staying on the youth part, was there any like movies or films that really inspired you to be like, oh, I really want to be a filmmaker?
Yeah, well, yeah, because I think when I was young, and honestly, now that with my current film that I'm working on right now, it's a slasher film.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the films that I've been like looking at are films from like the 2000s, like
Mhm.
early 2000 movie, 90s movies and stuff like that. Like those movies are the movies I grew up
Right.
on, and so when I look back, when I think back on it, I'm like, okay, I really like, I like Spy Kids.
Oh yeah,
I
I love
love
that.
I love
The
Spy
3D
Kids.
version with
Yes,
glasses, that
yes,
was
with the
my
red and
favorite.
blue.
Mhm.
Yes, the Spy Kids 3D, and then also I don't know, like the Truman Show. Truman Show is a really good movie. I love those movies. Um, and then the others with like Nicole Kidman, that was a
Oh
very
yeah.
good movie. Oh, such a good movie. And so I in terms of just like in terms of just like the slasher film that I'm working on right now, I'm like leaning into a lot of those, early 2000s, 90s tropes, not even tropes, but 90s aesthetics.
Right.
And then also leaning into just my upbringing and the music that I listened to when I was young, like Sierra,
Oh yeah.
One Two Step.
Exactly.
Yeah, One Two
I had
Step.
learned the whole routine. So I already know.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Shout out Sierra. We
No,
love you.
shout out to Sierra, big shout out. And then Missy Elliott, Pass That
Mhm.
Dutch, like all that stuff, like that era of music and just like movies is just so so pivotal.
And I feel like we are in an era where a lot of people, even with fashion and everything else, are going back into that 2000s kind of
We are.
aesthetic
Yeah.
because it's like it's not fun anymore. Like
Yeah.
everything with the politics and just
Yeah.
gender roles and bills
Yeah.
going up. We're like, we just want to live life. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good thing to tap into, especially right now in the time that we're in.
Definitely. Yeah.
So how do you go about finding like actors? Like when you see someone, how do you know that they fit the role that you wrote?
Well, yeah, I mean, oh my goodness, that's such a good question. Well, on this project, essentially, what me and my casting director have done is we put out a casting call and we try to find people, um, that we feel that match the role. And I think it's such a tedious process because like we want to make sure that we are hiring the right people for the roles. And Sometimes it's people who we find through submissions, and other times it's people that that are friends of friends and
Mhm.
stuff too. And I think that definitely helps because we have that rapport,
Right.
and we have that built-in connection. But yeah, I think essentially it's just about for me in terms of like feeling like when I find an actor and I feel like they're the right person for the role, I really want to. I think essentially I instinctively know when I see the person,
Right.
and when I have them read, I'm like, oh, it's this person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
And so, from concept to completion, how long is that process for you? Like writing it,
Yeah.
directing it. How
Yeah.
long does it usually take you to put out a project?
Yeah. On my last project, it took about almost maybe like I would say six to 12 months.
Mhm.
Honestly, I think it's like because it's the conceptualizing of it first, it's the writing of it, and then it's the getting people together, it's the funding of it, and then after that, it's the planning of it, trying to figure out how are we going to get everybody in one room
Mhm.
all at the same time, pay everybody,
Right.
feed everybody. And then after that, it's the editing, and then what I've learned from my own process is that I've editing I have to sit with it. I have to I come up with a rough and then
Mhm.
I leave.
Right.
And then I come back to it and I'm like, okay, this could be fixed.
Mhm.
So it's stuff like that, but I think it takes about like 6 to 12 months. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what advice do you have for young Black creatives who want to break into either being a director, a writer, a producer? What advice do you have for them?
Oh my goodness. Wow. I would say, that's a very good question. My goodness. I feel like, yeah, have you ever seen Beyonce's what's it called?
Renaissance? Which
No,
one?
no Renaissance. Is it Lemonade? No. Is it Lemonade? No, it's the self-titled album where like they ask her
Okay,
when they
yeah,
ask her
yeah.
that question, she's like, oh, and she's like she gets stumped. That's how I feel right now. No, but I think advice I would say perseverance.
Mhm.
Have perseverance and advocate for yourself. And I don't even mean like advocate for yourself in terms of advocating for yourself to other people,
Right.
but advocating for yourself to yourself,
Gotcha.
and having a good relationship with yourself,
That
and
positive self-worth.
and yes, because it's really easy
Mm-hmm.
to it's really easy, especially when when filmmaking is sometimes when you get into the career aspect of it, and it's so much about money.
Yeah.
It's easy to lose sight of the creative aspects, and I think it's also very pivotal to find your people and find people who believe in your vision and who are willing to work as hard as you and who are also as crazy as you,
Mm-hmm.
and who match your level of effort.
Right.
Because I think you're right. I think people say like you're only as good as people around you.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's very very true. So yeah, that's what I would say.
All right, y'all heard it here first.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's turn over to something a little bit more fun. Who would be your dream person to work with, whether it's an actor, director, producer, or network? Like, who's something or someone that you really want to like, oh, that's my dream person?
I would say, oh my gosh, I would say right now, I would say Iowa Devery.
Okay.
Iowa Devery.
I gotta look her up. I feel like I know who it is.
She's in the Bear.
Okay, yeah.
You
I
know
know
her?
that show.
Yes, The Bear. She's really good, and then also, she also just had a new movie come out called Opus, and I really want to work with her. I think that she's very fantastic.
She's great.
She's great. Yeah, she's amazing. She's awesome.
And is there any like current movies that you've seen recently that you really like? That's like, oh, this was like innovative, or this was fresh, or this was new.
Innovative, fresh, new, innovative, fresh. I would say I think in terms of what it's doing for Black cinema, definitely Sinners.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
What it's doing
agree.
what it's doing for Black cinema in terms of the images, especially having those images in an IMAX format,
Mm-hmm.
a 70 millimeter format, and then also having Ryan Coogler be a Black director and having the opportunity to do that and create those images, and also being able to pull in as many people into the theater as he's been able to do.
Yeah.
I think that's so phenomenal.
Yeah, he's brilliant. His work, even
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan, them together as
Yeah.
a duo is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
All right, and our final question is going to be, and this is always fill in the blank that I have everybody. So whatever first comes into your mind.
Okay.
Being a Black creative is.
Ooh, being a Black creative is liberating.
All right, y'all heard it. Being a Black creative is liberating. Everybody says something different. So I love getting that first thought that pops into everybody's head. So before we go, make sure you shout out all your social medias, all your projects, and what you got coming next.
Yeah. So if you want to follow me, my Instagram is Gary Perot Jr. and then my production company's Instagram handle is Kevro Studios. And then what I have coming up next is a slasher film set in the 2000s, mid 2000s, like 2006. Yeah, be on the lookout for that. Right now, we're raising money for it. We're trying to get money for the project, trying to make it happen. So please support if you can.
Yes, and you guys already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, and make sure you tune in next time to the Yogi Podcast.